really do miss the days when you could just shoot a man for laughing at you. Word of warning, in this establishment, we do not bother to call 911.
Cassidy got out, and now it's our turn. God's not gonna kick his own ass.
What exactly is the question?
My question is, if it breaks the spell and gets us the hell out of here, why don't we just kill her?
Let me make one thing crystal clear. You bust up in my office like that ever again, I will cut your balls off and roll them like dice.
You gonna blow on them first?
Nice, John Constantine.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fandom Zone. I didn't forget this time.
Yay.
Welcome to the Fandom Zone, episode 149 for the week ending August 4th, 2018. I'm Karen.
I'm Charles, still alive.
Yay!
Yep. Not dead yet.
I have my vintage Wonder Woman Pez dispenser, which I found in a box.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah, like it?
Now, remember Zan collects Pez.
Oh, really?
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
She is an avid Pez collector.
Yeah? Does she have this one?
Zan Sprouse from the Ghostwood to Twin Peaks podcast.
She probably has this one.
Maybe. Yeah, you ought to take a picture of it and send it to her.
I'll put it on Facebook or something.
On the Facebook.
On the Faces book.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a face.
She would totally dig that.
Yeah, it's a vintage one. And there's Pez in it. It's old Pez. It's super old Pez.
I would not eat that Pez.
Nope. And you showed what is it, a print or?
No, actually, it's the variant cover for Hellblazer Volume 2, number 24, the final issue of this series. Hopefully they bring John Constantine back in a much better series.
Yeah. This one wasn't great. And
need to get John Constantine back in Vertigo.
And that's the puffy John Constantine, who I am not a fan of that art.
Well, the artist of this is Sean Phillips, one of the noted Hellblazer artists from back in the day.
Yeah, I think
it's just the model that he used for this pick is heavier.
Yeah.
So
it's weird.
Now, so he does look a little older and puffier. So I think it's just the model that he used. But he has a button on it that says 31 today in honor of Hellblazer's 31st anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So
from
or maybe John's 31st anniversary because
Hellblazer when he was in Swamp Thing.
Yeah, because Hellblazer is 30 this year.
Mm-hmm.
So probably his first appearance in Saga of the Swamp Thing.
Correct.
Yeah. So, anyway, you don't care about that.
Yeah, they do.
They do?
We're talking about comic book stuff.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So what other comics are we going to talk about?
Well, first I want to talk about the fact that they're making a Supergirl movie, and why are they doing this?
Well, I posted that on a certain blog of Geeky Things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Yeah.
Lexicist.
Yeah, and people also posted it in the Made of Steel Facebook group, and I just have to say, okay, there's so many DC women superheroes.
Right. Well, from what I'm gathering is that one of the reasons they want to do this is because Supergirl is one of the more well-known DC Comics heroines.
Right.
And the Wonder Woman movie obviously did really well.
Right, so they want another Wonder Woman movie.
So they want another Wonder Woman type movie.
Uh-huh.
And Supergirl's been on TV for going on now 4 seasons.
So let's capitalize on that.
It. Plus, we can also use this to kind of set up the next Man of Steel movie.
Great. Let's not use Supergirl, though.
What would you
because that really didn't work well for The Flash.
But that was because of a certain director
who's not going to be involved with this?
By the name of Zack Snyder, who has absolutely zero involvement with the DC universe going forward.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
This is the result of Warner Brothers, the DC Films division having a new head.
Okay.
And he has some different ideas than the previous regime.
All right. So you have a little optimism?
Yeah, I do. Because for what Supergirl, I don't think they're going to go all grim dark with Supergirl.
Okay, yeah, I would assume not.
Yeah. So, they're already working on a Batgirl movie.
Right.
So maybe at some point we could see a team-up movie with Supergirl and Batgirl.
You know what I want to see? Zatanna. Yeah. And don't say you can't do it, because Doctor Strange.
Oh, I know you totally can do it.
I know. I'm not saying you.
I think Zatanna might work better for a TV series, though.
Yeah, but why wouldn't it be a good movie?
I mean, I'm not against it. You could probably... I know they've pitched the idea of Justice League Dark.
Right.
So maybe she would be a part of the Justice League Dark movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would personally love a Zatanna movie. I know Jesse would, because Jesse is super crushing on that character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would be very cool.
I mean, she's a very strong.
I'd love to see a Zatanna
DC.
Constantine movie.
Oh. Just
How's
like
that?
a DC magic.
That's
movie.
why a Justice League Dark movie might work for that.
Yeah.
Because I always thought those two interact really well together.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, that was. So I'm optimistic.
So interesting news, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I get the skepticism and I get the concern.
I am concerned because it didn't hurt the Flash any.
We've had some hope. I mean, Aquaman looks really good.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm excited for Aquaman.
And Wonder Woman 2 looks like that's going to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because Patty Jenkins is returning as director on that.
Right.
So I think there's some reason to be... Shazam looks fun.
Shazam looks great.
So I think there's some hope there.
Okay.
So
I'll reserve my judgment.
Yeah, I get the skepticism, but
it's just like I don't want them to capitalize on the DC TV universe. You know.
Right. We'd rather see some different characters.
Right.
Yeah. So would I. But again, Supergirl.
It's a cheap cash in.
People know Supergirl, and it connects to Superman.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right, that makes more sense then. Thank you for talking me off the ledge.
Okay, good. Do you feel better?
Because Supergirl is kind of, a personal thing to me.
No, I know, because of Made of Steel, and you're very protective.
And Wonder Woman, both of them are kind of personal to me. So.
But your faith was rewarded in Wonder Woman, right?
Oh, yeah. I was optimistic about Wonder Woman as soon as I heard about the director and, all that stuff. So
we'll see who they cast. We can all fret about who they're going to cast for a while.
Adrian Padalecki.
They're just early developing. They're just working on the script. They have nothing else.
Right. Yeah, it's just been announced.
So yeah. So right. we have some time.
Fingers crossed then.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Okay. All right. So let's jump into the actual meat of our episode then. We're going to be talking about Preacher 306, Cloak and Dagger 110, the season finale, Luke Cage 207, and Wynonna Earp 303.
Yeah, which was a rather morose episode. Bit of a downer, that episode.
But, we picked up from last week, which, we pretty much knew they were not going to be in a happy place.
No.
So.
You know what that episode reminded me of a little bit? Remember the Buffy episode, Conversations with Dead People?
Nope, because I didn't watch Buffy.
Oh, you didn't watch Buffy?
No.
Oh, well, forget it then.
Sorry.
Everybody that watched Buffy, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
Someone died on Buffy.
I can't believe you haven't watched Buffy.
No, I watched smatterings here and there, but not really much of it.
I think you would dig it.
I should watch it.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
Okay. All right,
you start the first season, and by the third season, you'll be locked in.
Okay.
So
Preacher 306,
yes.
La Fin du Sang.
Yes, written by Rachel Wagner, directed by Laura Belzy. So we have a female writer and director this time.
Excellent.
And it turns out to be a rather good episode.
Yeah, I agree. It was good. And I didn't even know it was written and directed by females. So. Yep. So my...
well, it shouldn't matter, should it?
No, it shouldn't. So I'm saying...
As long as you make a good episode, that's all.
I'm saying my I wasn't colored by that.
Right.
So my A story is Capered Crusaders.
Right. That has to be Cassidy and Carius, right?
No.
Oh.
That was the bank caper.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Capered Crusaders.
Got it. Okay, I see where you...
B story, Not a Tennis Scene One.
Yeah, I know. I got that reference.
Did you?
Yes. So, if you're a Monty Python fan, and Karen is laughing at me because now she understands that I understand the reference. So, if you watched the movie The Meaning of Life...
Mr. Creosote.
And there is this character played by Terry Jones,
yes,
who is this morbidly obese, disgusting slob of a person, but he's in a tuxedo because they're in this really fancy restaurant.
Bring me a bucket.
So this really grossly overweight guy who basically looks like a walking beach ball.
Right.
And so they roll him up to this table, and he eats all this food, and...
Would Monsieur like an egg on top?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Okay, so John Cleese plays the waiter.
And he's pretty much playing Herr Starr, right?
Kind of. Well, I thought he was more French. But
well, yeah, but like I mean, that kind of... Would Sir like an egg on top? I mean...
Yeah, that kind of sardonic humor.
Yes.
So he's completely stuffed, and so John Cleese's waiter goes like, "Would Monsieur like a tasty wafer
right.
to polish off this meal?
Would Sir like a mint? A wafer thin mint?" And
Terry Jones's guy is just like, "I don't want no effing wafer."
Right. I'm full.
I can't eat another bite.
Right. It's just a tiny thin one.
It's just a tiny thin one. So he finally he gives him the wafer. And then
pushes
all of a sudden,
it into his mouth where there's like food coming out of his mouth. It's so gross.
It is. And then so all of a sudden, though.
But when he pushes the mint in, he runs away.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He swallows it. And then all of a sudden, you start hearing this gurgling from his stomach, and then John Cleese's waiter takes off,
right?
And he's just like, because he knows what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden, boom!
Mr. Creosote explodes. Yes,
all kinds of chunks of body parts, and just goes flying everywhere. Gross stuff flying all over these fancy restaurant guests, and then they show comically, like a cartoon. They show Terry Jones, and he's got this big concave remains of his skeleton where the explosion was.
Right, and stuff dripping.
And he's got his hands kind of sticking out of this fake suit or whatever.
Right,
like where his stomach used to be, and it's just ridiculous.
Yes, I love it. And
so consequently, I'm feeling pretty reasonably certain that you're referring to the Allfather Darenique in this episode.
Correct. The Allfather and Herr Starr.
Yes.
Because of how they interact with each other in this episode.
But yeah, they have dinner together.
Right. And Herr Starr's kind of got that composure of...
Yeah. Like, I cannot believe what... you're so disgusting to be around. Yes. I'm just offended being in the same room with you.
Maybe not enough sauces? He said.
Yes.
How are you finding the cuisine?
Yeah.
It's just... I love it. So anyway, yes, not a tennis scene one.
So yeah, Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, if you're ever wondering.
Oh...
The whole
movie is amazing. It's I think my second favorite Monty Python movie. Of course, with the Holy Grail being first. The Holy Grail is the Holy Grail of Monty Python movies.
Because I would go Holy Grail, obviously. Then Life of Brian.
Life of Brian's good. It's third for me.
And now for something completely different because I love all the sketches.
That's fourth. Yeah.
Fourth for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Meaning of Life, I think, for
Hollywood Bowl is fifth.
Hollywood Bowl's fifth, but I love Hollywood Bowl. So even though they're like lower ranked, they're still way up there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're above a bunch of other movies.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay, so anyway.
The worst Monty Python movie is better than the best Adam Sandler movie.
Oh my goodness, yes.
By far.
Yeah. I hate Adam Sandler.
Yeah, so.
He's such a... Ugh.
Or
Okay.
Ben Stiller movie.
Any of those, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so not a Tennessee one, definitely. Yeah. With great power.
Yes. There's a little nod to old Spider-Man here.
Correct.
By Icarius.
Right.
Yep.
And Icarius, he doesn't really take that saying well. He doesn't use that saying at all. He doesn't consider it a responsibility. We'll put it that way.
This is our full big introduction to the Fond du Song.
Yes.
This little group hiding out in this mom's basement.
Mm-hmm.
Next to the washer and dryer.
And I have to say, and we'll talk about the whole thing in a minute, but the very last image of the whole episode being Cassidy being welcomed into the home by the mother.
Right.
Look who's home.
Yep.
I mean, that was so bizarre.
Yeah.
Because this guy is so worldly and renaissance-y and
cosmopolitan.
Yes, and living down in the basement of this old lady. It's so funny.
Yeah. So it's very surreal.
Yes, very surreal.
So, all right. So, what do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about Icarius.
Okay.
So Icarius has and his minions, the Children of Blood, they have kidnapped Cassidy, and
because he's a real vampire.
Right. And I don't know that they would consider it kidnapping. I believe they would call it liberating.
Right.
Because they're not so much holding him against his will as they have saved him from the clutches of the Grail. And he's free to leave whenever he likes, but Icarius wants to commune with him. Hey, let me show you the kinds of things that I've learned how to do. You're not really taking advantage of your vampiricness,
right.
Of your powers and all that stuff. Let me show you what you can do.
Yeah, you don't really seem to be living up to your potential.
There you go. He would have gotten a very bad report card from Icarius.
Yeah. He's basically his vampire report card is like C-.
Right.
E+ at best.
And he's doing a good job of being a wingman.
Yeah.
To poor Cassidy, who he's like, hey, go, you want the woman, go get her, and she's here with her dad,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, and then Icarius is like, pretty woman, come for me, and he's doing all that.
So basically, Icarius is the master of the seduction,
right?
And which pisses Cassidy off to no end.
Yeah.
Because he feels like, if Icarius can do it, I should be able to do it.
Right.
But he can't.
Yeah. And it's funny because he's watching it. He's like, no way.
Yeah.
It's funny because he's watching the woman walk towards Icarius and he's just flabbergasted.
And then he gets totally, completely freaked out when Icarius turns into a little kitten.
Well, he thinks Icarius has disappeared.
Right.
And he says, really? Invisibility? No one can go invisible. And he looks down and there's a little kitten and he goes, yeah. Now, I do like, is it in the next episode where he asks if he's ever had kitten sex? Or is it? Okay.
That was
which I enjoyed.
Which we watched last night.
Yeah, it was very funny.
We need to save that.
Yeah, but still, I thought that was pretty funny.
You're jumping ahead there.
I just thought it was funny, that's all.
It was funny.
It's not a huge plot point.
Did you ever have sex as a kitten?
Yeah. It's not a huge plot point. But anyway, so Icarius is...
Yeah. You ever have cat sex?
Icarius is showing him all kinds of things. Seduction, flying, and then...
Oh, and Cassidy loves when Icarius kind of flies him through the air.
Yeah.
Like, essentially, like, it was like a a very bizarre preacher vampire version of Can You Read My Mind from Superman the movie, where Superman is carrying Lois Lane over the city and they're flying around all romantic and stuff.
Very weird. Yeah,
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. It's the first thing I thought of. It's a very strange...
I kept thinking we should get like the Can You Read My Mind music going.
It's a very strange bromance happening.
Do, do, do,
Sweet Christmas.
There we go. Sweet Christmas.
do, 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 do.
Can you read my mind?
Yep.
Yeah. So they're holding hands and flying, and it's just very weird. But he is showing him a lot of stuff. And the one thing that Cassidy is going to draw the line at, though, is that Icarius is taking these minions that he's brought together. One of them being the girl that Cassidy dated.
Yeah, Lisa.
Right, who is not a vampire.
Right, she still has her fake plastic fangs.
Right, but he is turning them.
Yeah.
And
one at a time, every week or so, he gives one minion a promotion or something.
Right.
To full vampire.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
To become a vampire, and he treats this as it's this great gift that he gives them, and are you ready for your opportunity? Are you ready to?
Yeah, you're ready to evolve to the next level.
Right.
Yes, that whole line. But as we know, because we watched last night's episode.
Yeah.
There's a little more to the story.
There is a lot more.
We won't talk about it yet.
No, we won't. So yeah, everyone knows that Icarius isn't doing bad things, right? I mean, you have to know at this point he's not doing one. He's not doing it just for niceness. Right. Although he tells Cassidy one thing about it. Yeah. Cassidy is not on board, and Cassidy tells him about the incident with his son, that he turned his son and it did not work out for him. And he says, so the person that you turned, was this a good person? Well, no, he was kind of a dick, to be honest. And he says, well, these are all good people. These are all people that I've handpicked. And he makes it sound so great. And Cassidy, at the end of the episode, realizes, well, as long as it's all this stuff, maybe I will go back. And like he had tried to walk away from it, but then he realized, well, I don't seem to have much else going on. I guess I'll go back. Right. And this is after he has a conversation with Tulip. Tulip calls him. Yeah, to check on him. Right. And she says, after we're done here and everything, we're going to come back and we're going to get you. And he says, after all these years on the earth, I've had lots of tulips and lots of Jessies. Thousands of tulips and Jessies. Yeah. And he finally realizes, and something resonates with him when Icarius has said to him, all I wanted was another person like me. Right. To share experiences with. Yeah. Right. And he realizes that, Jessie and Tulip will never be able to share those experiences with him, but Icarius... Unless he makes them a vampire. Yeah, but even so, they will never be on the same level. Icarius is already there. Yeah, because he's hundreds of years old. Yeah. And he's... Yeah. And he figures, well, I've found this person that I can at least, be bros with. Right. And so he goes back to the house, and he's kind of turning his back on Tulip and Cat and Jessie at that point. So that's where we stand at the end of the episode. At the end of this episode, at least. Right. Yeah. Okay. Man, Icarius, that's all I gotta say. Okay, and then Capered Crusaders. Yes. So we left last week with Grandma wanting some souls and them kind of going at each other, trying to decide whose soul they were going to take. Right. But Jessie saying, hey, if you want to take one soul at a time, that's up to you, but I think we can get more than one soul. And they realize that he's talking about Madame Boyd's souls at the bank. Yeah.
Sabina, remember her?
Right.
So yeah, apparently they've got a plethora of souls over there.
Right. They got souls in storage, apparently.
Right. So, but apparently they're going to rob it. But first, Jesse comes up with the idea that, well, I think we need to kill Marie and Tulip first.
Right. So they staged this fake funeral, and then someone calls Sabina and says,
someone watching the compound.
Right. They say, she killed the grandma and she died too. And Sabina apparently knew that was going to happen, which I think is interesting. So she knew that Tulip was connected to Grandma. Yep, she was happy, apparently. So, Jesse goes to a bar and runs into Sabina, and he's trying to get her to spit on him in order to get saliva.
Yeah, so we should explain this. Not just because he finds it attractive or whatever. No, apparently the lock on this vault is DNA encoded.
Print. Right.
It's basically, it's the bank manager licks it with his tongue.
Right. It's gross. To
access it. So apparently it's you can use saliva because that's your DNA.
It's gross, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, well, why wouldn't you just like spit into your hand or whatever and smear it on there?
Right.
Why lick it?
Right. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Which is, essentially what Tulip and Jesse do.
Right.
They just put her.
I would hope they at least wipe that after every use.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Because.
Yeah, exactly.
You and me were like, ew. I'm not sticking my tongue on there. Lord knows where that. I mean, what if TC got in there?
Exactly. Well, TC would love it.
Right.
And
we'll talk about the kinds of things they had to do to get into the bank.
He would be licking that thing like he was painting a fence with his tongue.
Yes.
But
I want to talk about.
But if you went after him, yeah.
No, I want to talk about the kinds of things that happen in a minute. But I do want to talk about Jesse and Sabina in a minute. For a minute. He goes to this bar and she's a little pleased with herself, I think, and she doesn't want to spit on him.
Right.
And he tries another tactic, and he says, "Would it be wrong of me to want to kiss you on the day I bury my girlfriend and my grandmother?" And
which is a ballsy line.
It is super ballsy. And she turns around and she says, "It would make you a terrible person." And she kisses him anyway.
Yep, it's a big tongue kiss, obviously.
Yeah, and he goes out to the car and he puts all of his saliva and everything.
Well, he just like takes a cotton swab or whatever, and wipes the back of his tongue.
Yeah, he wipes everywhere in his mouth.
So he just kind of, and it's like, oh, here you go.
Yeah, and Tulip's like, hello, you weren't.
Tulip is pissed.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to kiss her.
Yeah.
Which, again, I find very amusing. I love their dynamic.
And he's like, well, you wanted me to get the DNA, right?
Right. This is what I had to do to get the DNA.
So she grudgingly relents.
Right.
On that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so they did go in and they cased the bank first, which is how they find out about the saliva. But she also hit the button on the desk before Tulip went in and cased the bank.
Yes.
So she hit the emergency, hey, we're getting robbed.
To basically figure out what the response time was.
Right. So it's 7 minutes or something like that. It's pretty short.
Right.
And they say something like, yeah, we could do it in that time. And TC says, I can help you with that.
Which right there should set up all kinds of warning flags.
It did for me. I thought, oh no.
So what kind of distraction did TC provide?
He went to a petting zoo.
Not just to the petting zoo. What was he wearing at the petting zoo?
Not much.
He was down to his skivvies, wasn't he?
Yeah, okay. And I love the police were on their way to the bank.
Right.
And
they get a call.
A man walked into the petting zoo. We're on our way to a bank alert.
Robbery.
A bank robbery in progress. It's TC. Well, why didn't you say so?
So yeah, basically, tires squeal like out of the Dukes of Hazzard,
Right.
and they start hightailing it to the petting zoo because apparently in this town, TC at a petting zoo is like the biggest alert you could ever have.
It's worse than a bank robbery.
Worse than a bank robbery.
Right.
So
and
apparently TC has a little reputation with the local police.
Right. And I love Jody pulls up. He's looking queasy.
Yeah.
He pulls up to the petting zoo, and you can see that TC doesn't have a shirt on.
He's got like a little sheep or something, baby sheep or something with him, goat.
Right.
With him.
But no, I mean, he's in the truck with Jody.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No, I meant when he was like walking down the street.
Oh, yeah. I mean, before that, though.
Yeah.
He pulls up to the petting zoo with TC in the car, and he's like, do you need help? No, I usually like to be alone. And Jody is looking like super queasy about it. And he says, well, I got some stuff to take care of for Grandma anyway. And he goes on this.
It's probably not the worst thing he's seen TC do.
No. Oh, I'm sure it's not.
Yeah.
But it's nothing he wants to watch either. Right?
Right.
And he goes off to the motel that we saw him at earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
To where all those, I guess, the Boyd brothers were.
This is where the Boyd gang hangs out.
Right. And he lays down a lot of carnage.
Right. Yes, he does.
And that, I'm guessing, will shake out.
He just disposes of them all, apparently.
Yeah. That will shake out as well.
Right. So basically, it's like a big gang hit.
Yeah. And the fact that this goes down all at the same time is probably why he plays it to their advantage.
Right.
Know.
Well, this is like a bonus for him.
Right.
He just uses the chaos to take advantage of it to wipe these guys out.
The police aren't going to be looking.
They're occupied with TC.
Hey, well, this is happening over here.
Yep.
I'm going to be over here.
It's called misdirection.
Right. So they do manage to get the souls. They take them back to Grandma. And she's better, but Grandma still wants some retribution. And we think it's going to be Tulip, but right at the last minute, it's a zag, and it's not Tulip. It's
Sabina.
Sabina.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right. So she takes Sabina's soul.
Yep. So apparently Sabina is no more. She has ceased to be.
She has joined the choir invisible.
Yep. Bleeding choir.
As long as we're talking about Monty Python, why don't we go all the way? And yeah.
We could be here for the next half hour.
Right. Okay, so now the Allfather has come to New Orleans.
The Allfather Derenique.
Right. And I love. First of all,
I can't eat another bite. I'm completely stuffed.
F off, I'm full. Did you expect the reason for the hats?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes, because I remember watching the scene earlier a few episodes ago where Hair Star got shot.
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting exactly that.
Yeah.
Like for his head to look like a penis. I was not expecting that.
Well, and I also know that an upcoming Preacher episode is called Dickhead.
Okay.
I kid you not.
So.
Which obviously has to be our episode title for that week.
Yes, it does. It has to be. Okay, so.
I wonder if that's going to be 150. We'll find out.
Allfather. Is it next week? No, it's not next week.
No.
Next week's not Dickhead.
That's right. No, you're right.
Next week is Hitler. So can we not title 150?
Hilter. Next week is Hilter.
Is it Hilter?
It's Hilter, not Hitler. Yeah.
So yeah.
We won't title it that either.
No, let's not.
Let's avoid the Trump. We don't want to be confused with like a member of the Trump administration.
No, let's not.
No.
Okay, so Allfather has come to New Orleans, as Hair Star calls it. It's New Orleans, but and he asks him, of course, have you tried the local delicacies and all that? He tries to do small talk.
Yeah.
Right. Allfather thinks his head looks like a penis.
Yes.
Which makes me laugh. And I finally saw why he was wearing the hats, which I love.
Now, don't you remember that from the comics?
No, I didn't remember it. I'm sorry, I did not.
That's right out of the comics.
Didn't.
Or in the comics, Hairstar goes through this progressive series of bodily mutilations. And the first noticeable one of these is when he gets that scar on the top of his bald head that makes his head look like a penis.
I didn't remember it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to go and read it. I told Sean he's going to have to dig out the...
So he goes, in the comics, Hairstar goes through this series of hats before
just
he finally...
more and more humbling.
He just tries to settle on the right look, and then he finally settles on a fedora.
Right.
Or it's like a Panama hat or a fedora.
Yeah. Or a trilby.
But it's red and white because of his grail colors.
Right.
So I'm waiting for the fedora / Panama hat to appear.
Okay.
On the TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, because he hadn't had it. And I love when he gets in the elevator and Featherstone gets in and he says, "I've lost my morning erection." It makes me laugh.
It was such a dry response to Featherstone getting on the elevator.
So funny.
It's like, damn. And it's even more hilarious knowing, after watching last night's episode.
Yes.
Knowing how we find out how Featherstone feels about Hairstar.
Yes. When she sees what Tulip says to Jesse, and then she...
Yeah, we'll leave that there for now.
Right. Okay, so, yeah. Pardon our French, by the way, but that's exactly what happened in the episode.
Yes.
Okay, so he and the Allfather have a bit of a discussion, and he's...
As they're eating a horse.
A horse, correct.
Right.
And he's asking him, do you know what the symbol was for this sect? And he says it was spurs because the horse was the holiest of thing. And then he says, "So let's eat." And then they carve food off of this horse.
Yeah. So basically this giant horse gets wheeled in on a spit.
Yeah, it was gross. Really gross. And you can see Hairstar does not want to eat the horse at all, but he has no choice.
Yeah.
And they talk about, of course, the whatchamacallit, Humperdew.
Humperdew, yes.
Humperdew, and he also confronts him.
Trying to be Jesse, making him the Messiah. And
right.
All that.
He confronts him about Jesse, too, in this episode. So the jig is up for Hairstar, and he's going to have to make a choice on what he's going to do. So that's pretty much it. But he is really super gross, the Allfather. Yeah.
Well, and there's this one scene right after he has dinner where he eventually vomits into a bucket.
Correct.
Just kind of like the Romans used to do, because they that they could just gorge on eating, but if they vomited it up, then they wouldn't gain weight.
Right.
So they could just enjoy the pleasure of eating without the ramifications of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what is it, bulimia I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, it's bulimia.
Okay.
But
yeah. But I don't. He sticks something down his throat.
Yes.
To do.
Yeah, he uses like a stick or something.
Right. It's gross.
Yeah.
Just really gross. So this was an episode with all kinds of weirdness in it.
Lots of preacher insanity.
It was preachery.
Yes, it was. So what was your rating?
9 ruffly shirts, because Icarius wears a super ruffly shirt.
And we're in sync on this one, as we are a lot this week.
Mm-hmm.
I give it 9 swallowed owls because, hey, Icarius needs to convince Cassidy that he's a real vampire, not a poser.
Mm-hmm.
So what does he do? Oh, he just happens to have an owl nearby, and he eats it whole.
Yeah.
He unhinges his jaw, inserts owl, closes jaw, swallows.
Can I just give a hand to the Foley artists on this show because the noises that they came up with for eating.
The bone crunching.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
I liked it. All right.
Just a little pinch between the cheek and gum.
A huge pinch.
Yeah. The owls are not what they seem.
These are not the owls you're looking for. Yeah. All right. Cloak and Dagger 110, Colony Collapse, season finale.
Yep. And this is written by showrunner Joe Pekaski, directed by Wayne Yip. Yippee!
All right.
So what's our ABC?
A story, arresting developments.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were arrests.
They're not painted blue, are they?
No.
Okay.
Not like David Cross, whom I mentioned just a moment ago. Yeah. B story, A Tale of Twos. Okay.
And that would be the divine pairing, perhaps?
Correct.
All right.
Divine pairings, the stories told throughout the episodes.
Got it.
And the C stories, Breaking the Cycle.
Yep.
And Beginning Mayhem.
I would have gone with Unleashing Mayhem.
Oh, Unleashing Mayhem. That's a good one. Let's do that.
You like that better?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's pretend I said that. Yes. Unleashing Mayhem.
Forget what she said. Reverse it.
Strike that. Reverse it.
Yeah. Unleashing Mayhem.
Unleashing Mayhem. That's what I said.
Yes, because we get the first appearance of Mayhem.
Presumably. And that's her, right? I mean, yeah.
Well, the character has already been teased for season 2 because while we were watching this finale, they aired little Cloak and Dagger season 2 will bring mayhem.
Right.
And Bridget O'Reilly, played by Emma Lahana in this series, just happens to be the character who becomes Mayhem. So I'd say, that's probably a 100%, especially now that she has powers and came back from the dead.
Right. And as soon as she got shoved into that nastiness, you knew that that's what she was going to come back as, right?
Yes. I mean, and I was like, yes.
So, I mean, that's the whole Mayhem storyline. We don't even have to talk about that.
We could talk about how that was Connors, who tried to kill Bridget, and saw that she was by one of the pipes or whatever, took a shot at her, presumably it caused the pipe to open and spray her with stuff, and then she fell down and she fell into the swamp or whatever. And
he kicked her over.
Right. Yeah, he kicked her over and thought that was the last he'd seen of her, but then in a post-credit sequence we see that she got out and got
her way out.
And she's looking decidedly, a little green in the face.
A little bit. With glowy eyes and stuff.
Glowy eyes and all scraggly hair, and just like her character.
Very mayhemy. Yeah. He shot her 3 times, all in the back, too. I mean...
Because he's a total dick.
Right.
Shoot a woman in the back.
Right.
Like Uncle Fester on Addams Family.
Yep. And he shot her right in the middle of her back and then in the arm so she couldn't shoot. And then, just weaselly.
But it's going to be fun watching Mayhem hunt him down.
Yeah, it is.
Next season.
It is.
So that'll be worth it. Right?
Yeah. He's going to have 3 superpowered beings.
People after him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I want to talk about A Tale of Twos.
Okay.
First of all, it was Evita that told most of these stories, right?
Right. And well done for you not saying Elvira.
Thank you.
I noticed.
So Evita narrates all these little stories of the divine...
Oh, no. That was Auntie Chantel.
Was it?
Chantanelle.
Well, Evita...
That wasn't Evita. Well, Evita does that, but so did Auntie Chantanelle.
Okay, so that was her voice. Did. Okay.
Yeah. Because she talks about the Choctaw tribe at the beginning.
So throughout time in New Orleans, there have been these divine pairings. And it's always that one has to give their life so that New Orleans can survive.
Right. So we get a lot of history of New Orleans with this episode.
Right. Now, I don't know whether it's correct or not.
I don't either, but it sounds good.
Right. It sounds pretty cool.
Sounds pretty good.
And it's, that the fish had stopped coming to this pond. So there was a pair of twins.
These could be some legends or something.
Sure. There was a pair of twins, and one of the twin, the girl twin, weighs herself down and walks into the water and drowns herself. And then as soon as she dies, all the fish come back. And then there's the soldier who dies on the battlefield and surrenders the note at the last minute to the other, the woman in the divine pairing, and the woman carries the note the rest of the way and saves New Orleans. But the moral is, of course, one has to die. Right. There's always a divine pairing. Right. And it's right when New Orleans is set to die. To save New Orleans at the last minute so that it can continue to exist. Right. And this is apparently like Roxxon is going to create these beings that are going to tear down New Orleans. And, the Terrors, as we find out they're called. Right. And one of the two of the divine pairing, who are Cloak and Dagger, Tandy and Tyrone, one of them has to die in order for the city to rise again. The prophecy to come true. Right. Yeah. And apparently that is not true. Because Tyrone's ready to sacrifice himself. Right. And Tandy is not ready for that. No. She thinks that he is too good. Yes. She goes running in and says, "No, you're too good." That's not exactly what she says, but it's what she means. Yeah. We get that she thinks that she's more of a horrible person, so therefore she's the one who deserves to die more than him. Right. And then right as they're looking around, they're kind of looking at what's going on, and they realize that maybe by combining their powers, like the day that they held hands and they repelled off each other. Yes. That maybe that power can stop whatever's happening. Yeah. And neither of them have to die. Right. So they go ahead and they do that, and they end up on the top of this reactor. Yeah. And everything is done. Yeah. So they break the cycle in that way. And the reason they do, and this is my theory. We're not quite sure how it works, but you just roll with it. My theory is that because their powers have been created by Roxxon, or enhanced by Roxxon, that's what breaks the cycle. Okay. They're the divine pairing, but they were enhanced by... Because they were created by Roxxon, that's how their abilities were able to stop what happened. Correct. So they rose above everything and broke the cycle of that. Right. So, we took care of breaking the cycle and A Tale of Twos. I loved that narrative throughout the episode of The Tale of Twos. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really cool to hear all that with all the dolls. Right. It was a nice little backstory. It was really cool. And then at the end of the episode where Evita is putting all the dolls in a box, and then she lays Tyrone and Tandy's figures on the box and closes the lid on them, like, okay. Like, I'm going to put these in storage till next season. Yeah, probably. And we got a break, so we got about 9 months to kill, so we'll be back. And after all that's done, Tyrone has run away because the police are all over his house. Yeah, apparently the police have decided, okay, he's the murderer of what's her name? O'Reilly? Bridget, O'Reilly's boyfriend. Remember, who got fridged? Right. So, and maybe O'Reilly by that time, because it was after that. So so basically they've decided that Connors, I'm sure, instigated this to throw all the blame on Tyrone. Right. Without any justification, probably. Of course not. Right. Yeah. He has no proof. Because this is a completely corrupt police department, remember? Mm-hmm. So. And he's already saved the whole police department from these terrors, which, again, we'll talk about that in a minute. But, they're all over his house. So his mother realizes, she goes upstairs and sees that he's taken a picture and some other stuff, and she realizes that he's safe, he's run away. So now he and Tandy are going to be living in this abandoned church, and I'm hoping that they find someplace more secure than that for the next season, but...
Yeah, well, yes, yeah, Tandy's moved back in with her mom.
Has she?
Yeah, she moves it. They make this whole scene where she shows up at her mom with her stuff. So she's cleared out of the church. So then that's why Tyrone moves into the church.
Oh, that's why he moves in. Okay.
Yeah. And I forgot to say that about Connors. Connors actually got, Tyrone got a hold of Connors.
Oh, yeah.
And like...
Are you scared of me? You should be scared.
And allowed his dark energy to envelop
that's
Connors
right.
and pulled him inside.
Pulled him into the...
And ate him up.
Right.
Like, burp.
Pulled him in like into the hoodie.
I can't eat another bite. I'm completely stuffed.
Right. F off, I'm full. We got to stop doing that.
We got to get that soundbite.
Yeah. Well, he actually says F, so I don't think I can get that.
Well, you can bleep it out, maybe.
Maybe. It's funny, though.
It is funny.
All right, and then arresting developments. At the beginning of the episode, Connor arrests O'Reilly and Tyrone because they were conspiring against him in the last episode. And he takes them both in, and he doesn't put them in a holding cell because then he would be forced to book them, and he doesn't have any evidence. So he keeps them down in, like, evidence, in the evidence lockup or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's going to, like, beat them or whatever.
Yeah,
but
pistol whip them or probably.
Right. But the terrors break in to the precinct, and in all the mayhem, Tyrone...
I see what you did there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tyrone gets his cloak, and O'Reilly...
and all the terrors are like clawing at the cloak, and they rip it to shreds.
Yeah.
Just like the Blondie song.
Yeah, that's true. But
rip it to shreds.
He does manage to, pop around and save a bunch of the police, even though they were all trying to get him arrested. He still saves them, and
because he's better than they are.
He is a million times. And O'Reilly also helps. And
so maybe O'Reilly's going to go, as Mayhem is going to go after the rest of the dirty cops.
I would.
She owes them.
Yep.
They just stood around while she took a beating in that bar.
Yep.
Cop bar.
Yep.
So, yep.
Did I miss anything?
Take them off one by one, maybe. Let's see what else.
That would make her bad, but also good.
Yeah. We did get a little nod to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in this, where Tandy was questioning Scarborough about why they're drilling in the for dark matter. And Scarborough was explaining that, well, in this day and age, we have to keep up with the Tony Starks and the Danny Rands.
Right. I remember
that was nice.
Yeah. Oh, and she takes his hopes.
Right.
So he's left gibbering in the elevator.
Right.
And she also hooks back up with Mina.
And she tries to give a little bit of hope back to Mina.
Yeah.
Probably feeling a little guilty over that.
Yeah.
As she should.
As she should. And I think that's one of the reasons, after her meeting back up with Mina, that's one of the reasons she goes back in to the reactor.
Yeah. And then Tyrone, he leaves his mom that tattered cloak.
Right.
He teleports back into the house.
That's right.
Avoiding the cops. And just to let her know that he's okay, I guess.
Yeah, because Tandy has given him back the hoodie.
Right. So, now he's wearing the hoodie. And we find out that, Tandy kept the hoodie that he wore as a kid all those years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hoodie and Dagger now.
I guess.
Doesn't quite work, does it?
No, it doesn't. Hoodie and light.
So hopefully Tyrone decides to take up some more sewing.
Hoodie and light spike.
Hopefully he'll have some time to kill at the church and can sew up a new cloak.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
It would be nice.
And, maybe Tandy can break out the white leotards, maybe. That would,
Sure.
That would be nice, too.
It would be.
And hopefully we can actually see them use their powers together more than
once.
More than like a couple minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because this was the only time they've actually used it together. And it was pretty cool looking.
Yeah. So
I
we
liked when they
finally got to
used it
see
together.
them very briefly as Cloak and Dagger together.
Because they actually made his like smoke thing and her light thing, and it came together. It was very cool looking.
Yeah, the light was feeding off the darkness was feeding off the light, just like it should.
You're right. It was very cool.
all too briefly.
Yeah, it was just not enough for me. Although
not after 10 episodes of padding.
And this would have gotten a higher grade for me if we had seen more of that throughout the season, because I was like, I want to give it more, but it's...
Yeah, they just like finally give us a little taste of something, and then, season finale.
Right.
Come back next year, guys.
Yeah. So, yeah. So what do you give it?
I give it 8.5 shredded cloaks.
Yeah.
As opposed to chocolate frosted shredded cloaks.
That's right. Personally, I like the shredded wheat cloaks.
Okay, shredded wheat cloaks. Yeah.
More fiber. I gave it 8.5 as well, because you and I are on the same page for every episode. Spoiler alert, everyone.
Yep.
8.5 absorbing hoodies.
It's like the Bounty Quicker Picker-Upper.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's a great shot of them after they had magically diffused the reactor that apparently, I think, Tyrone teleported them to the top of the Superdome.
Right. Oh, was that the Superdome?
I think
in
Lori
New Orleans.
Said, because of Katrina and everything.
And it looked like they should have asked for a cigarette.
Yeah, well, you know what that was? That was a direct homage to when after Tyrone had pulled Tandy out of the water as a kid.
Right.
And they were lying there on the beach. Remember they woke up together? Holding hands. That was a direct callback.
Very nice.
Right?
Very nice, yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Very nice.
Brought everything full circle.
But since they were adults, it
looked like they should have been having a cigarette. Yeah.
Right.
Like, hey, we just saved our city. Let's have a little. Was it good for you too?
Yeah.
Sweet Christmas.
That.
Yeah. We don't have Luke. We still don't have the Luke Sweet Christmas, do we?
Sweet Christmas.
Oh, there we go. Cool.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
I played it earlier.
What? Is there only one time limit?
No.
Okay.
No.
There's more than one Christmas.
Okay.
There's always room for Christmas.
Okay.
All right.
Always time for Christmas. Okay, Luke Cage. 207 on
Speaking of Luke Cage, written by Nicole Morante Matthews, directed by Rashad Ernesto Green.
Alrighty.
On and on. On
you
and
just
on
keep
and
on saying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So what's our A, B, and C?
Jerry.
Oh wait, that's Walking Dead.
Yeah. You had one job, Jerry. You had one job.
You had one job.
And Jerry is from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
That's one of the people that they say you had one job to.
Right.
And the B story is Tanked.
Yep.
Piranha is to play on Fridged, of course.
Yeah, because Piranha gets to sleep with the fishes, literally.
He sure does.
Yep.
Hey, where can I find a bunch of piranhas so I can make an ironic statement?
I think that was kind of funny that they actually went to the effort of like, well, hey, his name's Piranha. Let's go to the specialty pet store because these are exotic animals.
And it just happened to have a tank.
Just happened to have them. Yeah.
I know my local pet store has a tank full of piranhas. Doesn't yours?
Whose doesn't?
Right. Okay. And then I have a few.
I'm sure you can get those at Walmart, right?
Sure.
Yep.
They do sell guns, so.
Next to the guns and ammo, of course. Yeah.
Guns and ammo, piranha tank, anvils.
Yep. And now DC Comics. Oh.
No, it's an Acme lineup.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that they started selling DC Comics.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, these specialty comics. Yeah,
all
just for Walmart to try to expand their sales base.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I have a few C stories here. Playing second fiddle while home burned.
Okay. Instead of Rome burned.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Armed and dangerous.
Okay.
Get it? Armed.
Oh, yeah, because Misty.
Wah, wah.
Yep.
And then 2 for...
R.I.P. Comanche.
And Ridenour.
I'm pouring out 1 for my homie, 1 for my Comanche.
Yeah, it's actually a 3 for, but I didn't want to count Piranha in that 2 for because that happened all at once. The Comanche and Ridenour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Let's talk about that first.
Let's do.
Okay.
Shades.
That was all kinds of Shakespearean, wasn't it?
It was. Shades...
Shades makes a major move in this episode.
Damn, Shades is all I can say.
Shades is the Captain Cold of the Marvel Universe.
Seriously.
Am I right?
You are right. Yeah.
He is cold as ice.
Yeah, and see, this is why... Now, okay, this is where I stopped watching here. Yeah. So I don't know any further than this.
Okay, good, because I haven't either. So.
Okay. This is where it confounds me because he and Comanche had this relationship.
As we learned last episode. Yeah.
Right. And we just learned about it in last episode.
Right.
And now this episode, it's like he's spitting in the face of that relationship.
Well, it's just to make it, like, more personal.
Yeah.
Because, so what happens is that Shades finds out that Comanche has flipped to Ridenour and is ratting on them.
Even though
ratting on Mariah.
Comanche is backpedaling big time, but he's figured it out.
Right. So Comanche tries to cover it up by shooting Ridenour.
Right.
But Shades is just like, Comanche, you broke my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And shoots Comanche.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, all the history they had, all that backstory we got in the previous episode of how they felt about one another and how they got through prison together, and Shades knows how Comanche feels about him and how secretly he felt about Comanche back in the day.
Now, this has a lot of permutations for me.
Right.
Number one, they did have that conversation last week, and Shade says to him, but, this isn't on the inside. This is the real world. Right. So he knows now that Comanche wants it to be.
Right. I don't think he killed him because he wanted it to be real.
I don't think he killed it because of that, but I do think he thought...
I think he killed him because he found out he was a snitch.
Yes, I think so too, but I think that was another thing off his mind.
Right. It's one less thing I have to worry about.
Right. It's just like, now I don't have to worry about him outing me.
It just made the decision a little easier.
Right. He can't out me now as well. Okay, he was disloyal. That's number one. Number two, he can't out me. Number three, I don't got to worry about him, harping on me with Mariah. There's all of these factors so it made it super easy for him.
And it made for really compelling television because we really got invested in these guys.
Yeah, we did.
And it just, with all this, keeping this, what Shades is probably going through Shades' head as you factor in everything that we've learned these past couple seasons, what a big step it was for him to do that.
Yeah.
It was, that was a move right out of The Sopranos.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And again, you said Shakespearean. It is very Shakespearean. It's a heel turn.
Or just read it like a really powerful like mafia movie.
Right. It's very heel turny. I mean, it's a.
And you can, like, if you're looking at it from his perspective, you're like, oh, well, that makes sense to do this.
He really had no other.
But it's still horrible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What he did. Yeah.
He had no other choice in that moment.
Yeah.
He can't trust Comanche anymore.
Right.
And it was a really easy decision. That just
kills him because he's known Comanche and he's so close to him.
Yeah.
Like so his best friend.
And you already know that he's not in love with Mariah.
No.
He's not. I'd be willing to bet he was more in love with Comanche than he was with Mariah.
Right.
But because of the way his life is.
Yeah, well, he wanted to be more than a criminal. Remember, he talked about that last episode.
Right. So
and
because
Comanche wanted to be like, well, what's wrong with being a criminal?
Right. So because of the way his life is right now, he has to be where he is right now.
Right.
He has to be that
It was the sensible move for him.
Right.
Not so good for Comanche.
No, really bad for Comanche. Really bad.
Yeah. It was a brutal moment.
Brutal. Okay, so
probably one of the best moments on the show so far.
Yeah. It's shocking. Yeah. That was for sure. And I thought I was shocked earlier in this episode because we had
Want to talk about Piranha now?
Yeah, we had Luke playing Heroes for Hire with Piranha, and he dropped Piranha off with his dad in the church.
Right.
And then he went to fight Bushmaster.
Yeah.
And he was...
It ended up at the bottom of a river because Bushmaster is a dirty fighter.
Right. But there was no consequences, which kind of bothered me. I mean, it was just, oh, hey, I saw my mom and then I woke up.
Well, I mean, remember it talked about how Luke could drown.
I know.
Because he's not invulnerable, so he almost died.
Yeah, but he didn't.
But he came close to it enough. That's why he thinks that he had like a close near-death experience.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's why he saw his mom.
Okay. So, all right.
So I think that was something. I wouldn't shrug it off like, oh yeah, I was on the bottom of the river for a couple seconds and that's it.
I think I would have been okay with some machinations going on in the background.
Yeah.
And him
they could have done more with it, I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like there was no consequence to him going into the river.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. That
I think the consequence was that it made him have that vision of his mom, so therefore he felt he could go to his dad.
Yeah, I guess.
I think that was the purpose of it.
Okay.
It could have probably been told a little better.
Yeah.
But I think that was the purpose of it.
That thing. Okay.
Yeah. To motivate him to reach out to his dad.
Okay. So he goes and he talks to his dad and says, hey, where's Piranha? Oh, he left right after you did.
Right.
You had one job. And he says that.
Yep.
In the episode, which I love.
Come on, Dad. One job.
You had one job. And that, of course, reminded me of Parks and Rec. Even though it's been said in more things than Parks and Rec, it just...
Right.
They said it all the time on Parks and Rec. Jerry, you had one job.
Right. It's become a popular catchphrase.
It has. You had one job.
Pop culture reference.
Yeah. They trace it back, I think, to the early 90s. In pop culture, at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Piranha left.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets nabbed by Bushmaster's group.
Okay.
In the end. But anyway, Luke has a chat with his dad, and he says he saw his mother, and they have this heart-to-heart. And,
right. Well, they're,
I don't know if his dad
Luke comes to this realization that, okay, that the world may be his problem, but it's not always his fault.
Right. Well, yeah, because his dad had always told him that his mother died of cancer because of him being in jail.
And we basically find out what a dick. We got a brief glimpse, flashback of his dad saying, well, it's your fault that your mother has cancer.
Right. Because you're in jail.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I know, someone else being in jail doesn't cause cancer for that other person. Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't cause it. I mean, that's not a carcinogenic.
So essentially, Luke dealt with his father blaming him for his mom's death.
Right. And he confronted him about it. And...
even though his father cheated on his mom.
Right.
And had, what's his name?
The other guy.
The other guy from last season.
Yeah. Cottonmouth.
No, not Cottonmouth. The other guy.
No, the other guy. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Not Cottonmouth.
The guy that was so memorable, we've forgotten his name.
He was memorable, though.
Yeah, he was. Oh, well. And that's going to drive us nuts now.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, you look it up, but we'll keep talking. So, what else?
Cornell? No, that's Cottonmouth.
Yeah, that's Cottonmouth. That's not it.
Diamondback.
Diamondback, thank you. Diamondback.
Willis
Stryker, yes.
Okay,
now that I know Diamondback, it all comes back.
Now we can talk.
Now we can all relax.
So, Bushmaster's gang caught up with Piranha, who was trying to hightail it, and they were talking to him about things, and he was trying to tell him, hey, I can do deals with you too. He's being a weasel with them as well.
Right.
And things did not work out.
No,
too good yeah, big time. I mean, worse than this, to be honest.
So yeah, then next thing you know, Detective Bailey gives and Ridenour give Misty a call, and they show up, and guess whose head is floating in a fish tank along with some piranha?
Yeah, piranha.
Piranha, of course.
Yeah, it's not great.
So do you think it was suicide?
Yeah, I think he cut his own head off and put it in a tank full of piranhas. Yeah. And there's a bit of a showdown between Misty and the other cops because she's not a cop anymore. They ask her to leave.
Right.
And, there's some snapping happening between the two women.
And earlier in the episode, Ridenour went to the basketball court to try to bring Misty back. And Misty's like, I'm not feeling it.
No,
I'm not feeling it.
I'm not into it. No. And she's telling the female cop, why don't you go sing on Broadway?
Bailey.
Yeah. Why don't you go sing on Broadway? Because she was singing. I'm
just waiting for Misty to punch Bailey.
Oh yeah,
hard
with the
bionic
arm. Yeah,
and then it would crush her face. But
yeah, let's do. She's the worst.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, and
always.
Yeah, and that throwdown is very tense. I thought.
Right.
But they do have to leave because they're not cops.
Yep.
So they do leave, and at the very end of the episode, she is also called Misty, is called when Ridenour is killed.
Yeah.
So she shows up to find Comanche and Ridenour. And I guess it looks like a showdown between the two of them instead of anyone else interfering at that point.
So let's talk about playing second fiddle while home burned.
Yeah, Bushmaster is talking throughout this episode. He's getting a suit tailored, and he's talking about his mother, who was in her home while it was being set fire to, and how she sent her son outside, him, and she ended up getting burnt in the home.
Right.
And we didn't know where it was going until he decided to kidnap Mariah and Tilda and tie them up in her brownstone, because once Mariah found out that her money was gone,
right,
after
which was a great moment.
Yeah. After Piranha's head was found and Mariah found out that he was dead, she looked for her money, and it turns out that Bushmaster's gang knew how to...
Somebody stole my money!
Knew how to take it, right? So she decided they had to get...
Yep, they were all getting ready to leave, and then all of a sudden, Bushmaster shows up.
Right, so they get tied up to chairs.
Yep.
And he's going to set the brownstone on fire.
Fire.
And this is, in retaliation for what happened to his grandparents, I guess, and his mother. Now, what are the odds that Tilda, that her dad was Bushmaster's relation?
Ooh. Dun, dun, dun.
Because Mariah has not said who the father is.
Otherwise, yeah, it's a good point.
Because the grandfather was involved with Harlem's whatever.
Yep, good point. That's a good point. I'd say that's Shake's Magic 8 Ball.
Right. Could be.
Outlook increasing.
Yeah. I think it might be. And it's, what is it, MacIver or something? MacIver.
MacIver.
Yeah.
Not like MacGyver on...
No.
Coming up next on ABC, MacGyver. 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 Oh.
MCIVER. MacIver.
Outlook not so good.
I like that. I can't do that with mine because it's not close.
Did that sound okay?
It did. It sounded great. It sounded like a really full Magic 8 Ball. That's been, I've seen that. Like, some people have said, "Oh, what if that is Mariah's ex?"
That's a good theory. I like that theory.
Yeah. And
so anyway,
and no, I have not seen past this episode. So.
The brownstone's on fire. Luke runs out to deal with the fire. Yeah,
someone calls him. Who is it? It's DB that calls him, right?
DW.
Oh, DW. Yeah. DW calls him.
Mr. Like, I'm going to sell videos of you getting your sucker punched.
Right. He calls him and says, "Hey, Mariah's brownstone's on fire," and Luke runs to save her, and when
he's better than they are.
Right. And when Mariah is out on the ground realizing that Luke Cage has saved her, she is incredulous and then says, "I want to hire you."
But you have no money. How could you hire him?
Yeah, who knows?
What are you going to pay for it? Cookies?
Right. And there is also a scene. I'm
guessing she's going to fail that credit check.
What's the scene where Misty's fighting? Where is she fighting? Because I know there's a scene where she's fighting. I just can't remember it.
Okay. So, they take on a bunch of thugs, and Misty holds her own, and the arm works really well, and Luke's all impressed.
Right.
This is where they were kind of flirting, like, you're my sidekick. No, you're my sidekick.
Right.
That bit.
So I thought it was a really good fight scene, which is why I mentioned it, Armed and Dangerous.
And it's kind of fun to watch Luke and Misty right now, because now that Misty's able to kind of keep up with Luke, they play off each other really well.
Really well.
Yeah.
I like it. And
now, instead of her trying to chase him down and get him to make a statement for all the time.
Right.
This is much more fun. This is much more what we want to see.
I like them as partners.
Yeah.
Equals.
And there doesn't, they flirt, but it's not like a heavy flirtation.
No, it's like
it's kind of like, witty, like moonlighting kind of banter.
Yeah. It's like smack talk kind of.
Yeah.
In a way. All right, I think that's everything.
I think that is too. So what's your rating?
8.5 I love yous. And the I love you in this case was Shades and Comanche.
Yep. Again, pouring one out for my homie Comanche.
Yep. And you gave it?
Again, in sync. Go figure.
Yep.
8.5 severed heads in the piranha tank.
Yeah.
There's another piranha in the piranha tank.
Yeah. There's many different species of piranha.
Piranha heads. Eat them up. Yum. Did you like that little Barnes and Barnes reset?
Thank you. I like that. Dr. Demento songs.
Yep. Barnes and Barnes played, one of the members was Bill Mumy from Lost in Space, Will Robinson.
Really?
Really.
I've never seen... set my eyes upon them.
Have you seen the video?
Mm-mm.
Watch the video. Go to YouTube and watch the Fish Heads video.
Okay.
By Barnes and Barnes.
Heard it.
Yeah. It's Bill Mummy's one of the members.
Okay, cool.
Little trivia bit.
Thank you. I've learned something new today.
Yep. As everybody should on the Fandom Zone podcast.
G.I. Joe.
Yep. The more you know.
Yeah.
All right, so what's our final show?
Wynonna Earp 303, Colder Weather.
Written by showrunner Emily Andrus, directed by Ron Murphy.
Great.
Yeah, and not the cheeriest Wynonna Earp episode.
No.
Although there is some funny moments.
Yeah, there are.
So, not a completely, morbid affair, but none, obviously we lost Dolls, and we're pretty sure he's dead because, hey, they cremated him this episode.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's safe to say that
I think he's pretty dead.
I mean, they could always bring him back through a spell or something.
Sure.
But
yeah,
they went to the trouble of cremating him and burying his ashes.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say that, at least for the foreseeable future, Dolls is dead.
Right.
And even though, especially because we have, a new black character on the show in the form of the Contessa.
Right.
Because apparently Wynonna Earp has a one black character per season prerequisite.
Right.
Just pointing this out here
Yeah,
for anybody paying attention.
at least they're diverse.
Yeah, this is true, but
They're pretty diverse.
I think they could be allowed more than one black character
They
at
have
a time.
another person of color, though.
Mm.
They do.
Oh, yeah,
He's
yeah.
Indian.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
That's true. Good point.
Okay, so A story, Wake Up Wynonna.
Yep.
That's celebrating Dolls. Get it? Wake
Right.
up Wynonna, because it's awake.
Right.
And the B story.
Well, how are you?
Never better, Dave. How are you?
Well, you look a little different. You have something. You have like a little magic marker or something there on your upper lip.
It's a drawn-on mustache, Dave.
Not everybody can pull that off, but on you it looks great, Phil.
Okay, so my B story is
Phil
drawn.
Hartman.
Yep,
Yay.
drawn on mustache. And I wanted to play that because I want to say it like this. Drawn on mustache. And the reason I put drawn on mustache is because it's drawn.
Yeah.
Get it? Drawn. I drew on you.
Like
drawn.
you drew with your finger and a gun.
Right.
Yep.
Drawn on.
Because you have to tell them this because they cannot see your finger pointing like a gun.
I'm hoping that you will explain what I'm doing.
So what Karen is doing is you're drawing a gun out of your holster.
Right. Drawn on mustache.
Yes. Got it.
So they drew on each other, the two guys with the mustaches. Okay.
Got it.
And then Jeremy spoken.
Thank you, Eddie Vedder.
When I sing Pearl Jam, I usually do this. Jeremy spoken.
To sing like Eddie Vedder, you have to sing like Drunk Cher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that a pretty fair?
And keep your mouth shut, pretty much.
And mumble, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
this is why I'm a Nirvana fan.
I love Nirvana. Yeah. Because
and Foo Fighters.
Because the Dave Grohl thing.
Yeah.
So Jeremy spoken is that part, and then a quiet open.
Okay.
Which would be the opening.
Yeah.
Where they played the slowed down.
Yeah, we got a different version of the theme this episode.
Yeah, they did a
different arrangement. Special Dolls Memorial version of the theme music.
That's right.
I thought you were going to open with that, by the way.
No, I didn't want to play the entire thing, or else I would have.
Okay.
Not in the cards, and that is our new character.
Yep.
And the plots thicken.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about who's going to get buried where in this episode. Which makes sense because, hey, how often does, a cast member death come up?
Lots of death talk.
So, yeah,
Let's talk about that, by the way.
Okay.
It's pretty much just Waverly, because Waverly is not an Earp.
Right.
Or at least she doesn't think she's an Earp. And who knows at this point?
Well, we get a hint. They make another allusion. I think it was the Contessa that, hey, she's something more.
Right. And the fact that when they go see the lawyer, Daddy Earp did not have a plot for her.
Right.
So she asks Wynonna, hey, there's not a plot for me, so I don't know where I'm going to be buried. And Wynonna's like, yeah, I'm not going to be buried there either. I'm not going to be buried in the Earp
You
plot.
and I are going to be buried here.
On the homestead.
When we're 80, in our 80s and 90s.
Right. And she says, and don't ask me if Officer Hot can get buried here.
Yeah.
and then they drink a little bit and laugh, and then she's like, okay, she can get buried here.
Well, apparently what started all this was that Nicole Hot told Waverly, her girlfriend, that, well, when she dies, she wants to be like put up in a casket high up in the trees, eaten by vultures, and then pooped out over the forest.
Right. Because she doesn't want to be shoved into a box.
Well, and it's very eco-friendly.
Right.
So, but Waverly's like, my girlfriend wants to be all pooped out.
Right. And when she tells Wynonna that, Wynonna says, okay, she can join us then. Because she thinks that's hardcore.
Right. Well, you got to respect them. You got to respect that.
Yeah.
Eaten by vultures, Yeah.
I don't want to be in a casket either.
That's a ballsy. I don't either. Personally. I want to be cremated and scattered into space.
I just want to be cremated.
Seriously. I want my ashes launched into orbit.
You going to pay for that?
I'm going to arrange it.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know how much money it's going to, maybe set up a trust fund or something.
Yeah,
but
it's going to take a lot of money.
I'm hoping there will be, a big demand for it by the time I die, so
that's cool.
Hopefully it'll be cheaper.
I don't want to go into space, so I'll pass on that.
I always wanted to go into space.
But no, I can't imagine.
Failing that, I would like to be scattered in a river or something.
I can't swim, so not that either.
Well, you'd be ashes, so you wouldn't be.
Well, no, I don't want to be somewhere where I'm uncomfortable. So I don't want to be enclosed. I don't want to be in space. I don't want to be in water. But I don't want to be.
Where do you want to be?
I don't know.
Haven't really thought about it. It's kind of a weird topic to talk about.
I don't know.
You're on a podcast.
I've thought about it. I just don't want to be in a casket. I know that much right now.
That's okay. I respect that.
Yeah.
I don't either. So, all right.
Gross.
So now that we've cheered everybody up.
Yeah. Okay. So, and A Quiet Open is,
I blame this episode personally.
Yeah, I do too. A Quiet Open, they had a special opening for the show. It was a slower.
It's a more maudlin version of the theme music.
Right. And Jeremy, she gets the brunt, or he gets the brunt of.
It's easy to confuse that. Oh.
He gets the brunt of Wynonna's anger because he tells Wynonna that he knew Dolls was going to die and that Dolls knew he was going to die.
So he said the exact wrong thing to Wynonna at the exact wrong time.
Correct.
And so therefore she was ready to declare a lifelong grudge against Jeremy.
Yeah. And it wasn't good.
No.
So there's going to be some fallout from that.
Yeah, because they don't really resolve it, do they?
Nope. They don't.
So,
Not yet, at least. But, she's...
Right now, at least, Wynonna is grudgingly tolerating his presence.
Yes.
That's about as good as Jeremy can hope for right now.
Right now, yes. She's telling him to get out of Black Badge, although I don't think she has that authority.
Well, there is no Black Badge.
Right.
She just wants his stuff out.
Right.
Pick up your crap and leave.
I don't think she has that authority, even still, because she doesn't own the bar.
Right.
In which his laboratory is.
Because Doc does.
Right.
Yeah.
And then not in the cards. That is, what's her name?
The Contessa.
The Contessa.
Yeah.
Who is reading cards throughout this episode and talking to Doc.
Really fancy tarot cards.
Mm-hmm. Really cool looking tarot cards.
Very modern tarot cards.
And she and Doc have a past, which we knew.
Yeah.
It was a romantic past, apparently.
Yeah, as we find out, well, hey, they were married.
Yeah. So
awkward.
Quite interesting.
Now, the question is, are they still married?
Yeah.
That seemed a little nebulous, didn't it?
Again, awkward. Although, yeah.
Presumably, there's no statute of limitations on that.
Can you count yourself married if you're undead?
Well, if Doc died and then came back.
She died and came back.
Right. So does it still count, presumably?
Yeah. I would think not, though. Till death do you part.
Oh, yeah, that's true. To death do you part. So maybe that's the escape clause.
Yeah.
If you die, I guess you're single again.
Yeah, even if you come back.
Even if you come back.
Yeah.
So take note, everybody.
Yeah, because I know that if you're presumed dead.
Yeah.
And you come back, you can still you still have to petition.
Right. Well,
to be remarried.
First, you have to prove yourself as you're still alive.
Right.
For one thing.
Right. There's a whole tangle of legal issues.
Yeah. I'm not sure where the current legal status is on resurrections.
Yeah. I'm not either.
Go
So,
figure.
yeah. We'll have to do research on resurrections.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is why I prefer regeneration, personally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so Wake Up Wynonna, they decide to have a wake for Dolls to celebrate his life.
A good Irish wake.
Right. Because, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Because he chose his family. He had family apparently in Arizona, but he chose them as their family. So
to Dolls.
To Dolls, yay.
Clink.
Yeah, although, they're not really feeling the celebration so much.
And apparently there's like one outsider there who's this guy from Dolls' unit.
Right.
Military unit.
Ramon Quinn. Now, what happens is he's upstairs in the bar.
Drawn on mustache.
He's upstairs in the bar, and Doc is downstairs trying to find stuff. He finds that he's been cleaned out, or no, he hasn't been cleaned out. There's nothing missing except for
apparently banana liqueur.
Banana liqueur. That's the only thing that's been taken, right?
Yeah, right.
He took my banana liqueur.
Yeah.
And he hears noise upstairs, and he goes upstairs, and he says something to the guy, and the guy turns around and he says, apparently I'm holding a gun on someone with a rather intimidating mustache, or a serious mustache, or something, or someone who's on his A game with his mustache. I mean, it was something very cool, which is why I thought of Drawn on Mustache.
Right.
And of course, Sean and I have had this thing where every once in a while, when we see someone with the ridiculous mustache, and it can be big or small or whatever, we go, it's the Drawn on Mustache, Dave. Because of that clip.
And now you got to use it.
David, yes, and so I got to use it in this episode. Cool. So it's Ramon Quinn, and he's from Dolls' unit, his military unit.
His black badge unit.
Right. And Dolls was his last remaining alive friend from the unit, and he's got out all the other dog tags from all the other friends, and he shows Wynonna
he's showing apparently he's got him in these nice little kind of like protective guards.
Yeah, you can buy those for keys.
Yeah, exactly.
So
he's kind of just flipping through the dog tags as he's showing Wynonna. And is he staying on the show, or I don't know?
Did they kill him, or
I have no idea. He's alive at the end of the episode.
Okay, so he might stay. I don't know.
We'll see.
But
if he'd left, I would not miss him.
No, me either. He didn't make much of an impression. As you can tell, I don't even remember if he stayed for the whole episode. I mean, he was okay, but so Wynonna is pretty much just sulking, and not without reason.
Well, so Wynonna, when they start this episode off, she's taking it really hard.
Yeah.
She's the most obviously emotional of the group.
Yeah.
Like she's out in the woods getting hammered because, hey, it's Wynonna.
Yeah.
And she's just like, F you, Bullshar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she does at one point, and I guess it's near the end, she and Doc have a bit of a reunion, kissy face reunion.
Right.
And she says to him, we have to get Bullshar. Mm-hmm. And they vow to each other that they're going to get Bullshar.
Right.
So, and there is, of course, some killing of revenants, but they're not Bullshar, they're just some revenants. And
then we have the big ceremony at the end, where everybody brings like a memento,
right,
and buries it in the box with this little mini casket.
Yep.
I shall call him Mini Casket.
Yes.
Yes.
Mini Casket.
I shall call him Mini Casket. Thing. Yes.
Yeah. So it was a touching episode. Wynonna definitely was upset. You could see, and she does a great job.
Yeah.
A really good job of.
Melanie Scarfano.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Of playing those emotions, and there were also some light-hearted moments. I loved when Officer Hot and Waverly were sitting there talking to the, I guess, undertaker or funeral director or whatever. And he says, yes, you'll have to ask your husbands.
Yeah. And then Hot puts her hand over Waverly's hand.
And they smooch
Yep.
And he's very scandalized by it, that they...
Oh, I have the Vapas.
Are definitely together, yeah. It was very funny.
Yep.
So yeah, there were some really funny parts and some sad parts, and I thought the theme was very touching as well, the theme song.
Again, if you're a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, go watch Conversations with Dead People.
Okay.
So, just saying.
I'll watch Buffy at some point, I promise.
Yeah. All right. So, what's your rating for this one?
I gave it 8.5 dog tags.
Yep, and as just like for all the others this week, we're completely in sync because we share the same brain.
Yep.
And I give it 8.5 bottles of Shorty's whiskey.
Yep. Lots of whiskey.
Pouring another one out for my homie.
For my homie.
For my dogs.
Yeah, we lost a lot of people in this week's.
R.I.P. Comanche, R.I.P. Dolls.
Okay, in Preacher we lost.
R.I.P. Piranha.
Dolls.
Who else do we lose? Oh, all right. Well, we don't want to give R.I.P. to Connors, so.
No, what the chick Boyd.
Oh yes, R.I.P. Sabina.
Thank you, Sabina. Yeah.
So.
Exactly. No, we don't want to give it to Connors. No.
So yeah, the body count was rather high this week.
It was super high.
All right. So we have some Justina feedback?
We do. She sent us emojis with it.
Yep. So maybe you can decipher the emoji message.
I liked your last two emoji translation.
So this is my take on the emoji.
Yeah.
Okay. My translation of this is, hey, I'm happy. I'm really excited. I'm winking at you, and then rolling my eyes off to the side, and then I'm writing you this note about popcorn, and then I'm shocked by this, and because I'm a Time Lord, I have two hearts.
And what it is it's a happy face with their hands out. Like,
this may not be the best translation.
And then a smiley face, and then a winky face, and then eyes, and then a paper writing, and then popcorn, and then a ooh face, and then two hearts. So she sent those.
To be completely upfront, my emoji to English translation skills are not the best.
I like the two hearts.
Okay.
Doctor Who.
I'm a Time Lord because I have two hearts.
Yes, very nice.
So that way I can love you more.
That's
because
right.
I have two hearts.
I love you double. All right. So she did send us audio. Thank goodness.
Yeah. This one we did the code.
Right. So here she is.
Hi, Karen and Charles. You'll never believe it. I totally forgot I could send in reviews for Wynonna Earp. I didn't forget to watch it, but for a moment I forgot the Fandom Zone would be covering it. However, I do always watch that one time shifted, so it's very likely that my reviews will always be the week after. But I have really enjoyed episode 1 and 2 of this season. I really like that they are illustrating consequences. The consequences of losing baby Alice. The consequences of Wynonna keeping such a big secret from Waverly about Mama. And boy, I love the actress that they cast to play Mama Earp. And I think having her in the show is going to bring a whole new dynamic. I still haven't had the heart to push play on episode 3 because I can't imagine life without dolls. But it makes sense in such a high-stakes town like Purgatory, where there's demons and revenants and such, that not everyone is going to get out safely. So I give episode 1 10 out of 10 neckerchiefs, because it's European, you know. And episode 2 10 out of 10 dragon dolls saves the day. The finale of Cloak and Dagger was amazing. I loved all the flashbacks showing the divine pairings throughout history, and the special effects of Tyrone and Tandy's power combining was really amazing as well. Giving the episode 10 out of 10 new old cloaks. I have a wild theory based on the Flash trailer from Comic-Con. It probably won't turn out, but here it is. Nora said she made a big mistake, and I remember that in some continuities you said Barry and Iris have twins, so I wonder in the upcoming season if Nora's twin is going to be the bad guy, and that's why Nora said she made a mistake. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Have a super week.
Thanks. You too.
Yeah, thank you, Justina. That's a good question. I don't think so, because we know that the bad guy for season 5 is going to be this guy named Cicada, who historically has nothing to do with the Speedsters as far as any familial relations, but it's not like they haven't changed things before.
Correct.
So anything's possible. I hope not, though, because I don't want it to be that personal.
I am the future, Barry.
We've got it, plenty personal with having excess around.
Right.
So I don't think we need to do more, but who knows? We'll see. And I want to give Justina a very special shout out, because Justina was kind enough to drop me a line on the Twitter machine and ask how I was doing post my surgery this past week. So, Justina, I just want to say thank you for that sweet gesture, and obviously still alive, everybody.
Yay!
Yay! So, anesthesia did not take me out.
Yeah, I was glad when I heard from you.
So, it took about close to 2 hours, though. But thankfully, because apparently I had some big honking nasal polyps that needed removed.
I saw that they were big.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see them.
Right.
I saw a Facebook post saying that they were big.
Yeah, apparently they were pretty jumbo size.
I mean, your doctor didn't contact me and go, dude.
It's like, yeah, we put these up on the internet because there's like, you got to check this out. They're amazing. So
that would actually be really cool. And before we started recording, Charles was telling me about some things that were happening, and I was like, that's really gross, but it's also really cool.
Yeah, because I've been telling her about all this blood and mucus and stuff and crap coming out of my nose, and it's just like...
And I was like, okay, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like I phrased it as like, I am repulsed, but yet intrigued at the same time.
Yes. And okay, it's gross, but still,
it is gross stuff. But hey, bottom line, I can breathe again.
Right.
I can breathe through my nose again, everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't sound like I have a code to 10.
Yeah, and I'm really happy. Really happy for you.
So, still on the road to recovery. Still, like you said, a lot of residual blood and mucus and crud. But better than it was.
They're my favorite band.
So
Blood, Mucus, and Crud.
Blood, Mucus, and Crud. Mm-hmm. Yep. I was going to go see them down at the stadium.
Yeah.
Down at the Ohio State Fair.
I'm really thumping this jug.
So thanks everybody who's passed along well wishes, especially you, Justina, because I really appreciate it.
She's the bestest.
You are the bestest. Yeah.
And
as are all our listeners.
If you want to be even 50% as cool as Justina...
She's raised the bar pretty high.
She has.
But don't feel bad if you don't quite measure up, but she's the gold standard.
She is. You can email us at fandomzonecast@gmail.com. You can contact us on Facebook at facebook.com/fandomzonepodcast. You can contact us on Instagram at fandomzonepodcast and see our audiograms there.
Yep.
On Twitter, we are at fandomzonecast. And you can listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review.
Yay. And please do, because that helps people find us.
It does.
So, and obviously we'd love to get our likes and follows up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also be sure to check out the Instagram page.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, Karen's putting some work into that. And as we give create actual bonus content for you guys to help tease our upcoming episodes. So please check that out. And let Karen know that her hard work has not gone unnoticed.
It's not that hard.
Do me a solid, okay?
It's not that hard.
It's cool though.
It's not hard.
It's cool.
It's
so
fun.
Karen, where can they reach you?
I am at Aleveria, ALEVERIA, on the Twitter machines, and it's a gamer tag thing.
Yep.
And there's a link in my bio to all my other stuff. I just wrote a story on my blog. I did.
Oh, I need to check that out. I was not aware of this.
Well, it's a WoW story. However...
Yeah. Can I follow it?
Huh?
Will I be able to follow it if I read it?
You should.
Okay.
First of all, there's a video on there.
Okay.
That will give you kind of the idea. Our leader of our faction has done something pretty bad, and there's kind of a consensus that most of us aren't happy with the direction that our narrative has taken, our faction in the game.
Yeah.
And so we're saying that we can kind of write our own story.
Yeah.
And the Alliance side, I'm Horde. The Alliance side has written their own kind of story. And,
so you have dueling narratives.
And I wrote my response to it to a friend blog.
Okay.
And there's a link to her story on there as well. So I wrote my response to it. And it's my like RP, my role playing kind of, you know. Yeah. I'm following my war chief, but I also have these reservations and I'm not in love with what she did, but I do have to follow her and, you know, blah, blah, blah.
I need to check that out. So I recommend everybody else check that out too.
So I just did that a couple days ago. I got a few retweets and stuff when I put that up, and
coolness.
And the girl that wrote the Alliance version, you know,
maybe you can post a link on our Facebook page
if you want. It doesn't have anything to do with comics though, so
it's okay.
Okay,
it's about you. It's about the hosts that we do this. The crazy podcast that we all love so
crazy
much.
Podcast, yeah.
The crazy podcast.
I hadn't been doing a lot on my blog, but I did that the other day. So I just
cool.
I decided to do that because, you know, we just
I like you being all creative.
Not very happy with where things had gone lately. So okay. So anyway, there is also a page there with all my links, and I just updated it, by the way.
Excellent.
Some of the blogs I follow and things like that. So, yeah, that's me. Leveria. And you are?
And I am Charles Skaggs.
Awesome.
At Charles Skaggs. I think I got that right.
You did.
At Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine. At Charles Skaggs on the Instagram. Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus. Said without sinus congestion. Hooray.
Awesome.
Facebook, of course. Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio. And my blog of geeky things.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Damn good coffee and hot. Where I talk about all the shows that we talk about here on the Fandom Zone podcast.
And more.
And posting all kinds of comics and sci-fi news. The aforementioned news about Supergirl.
Yep.
So I got that up. And then
some other news.
Posted some news about Patrick Stewart returning to Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh my God, right?
OMG, right?
How exciting. And he's going to be Captain Picard.
Like just 20 years later. So Star Trek is finally moving forward again.
Right.
Like we're not doing prequels.
Right.
We're finally moving the Federation forward.
Yeah.
Timeline-wise.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So can't wait for that.
My husband has been watching The Next Generation for like 3 days now.
Lori and I watched the pilot Encounter at Farpoint yesterday.
Oh, that is terrible. I am so sorry.
It is terrible, but it's worth it because it has one of my all-time favorite Star Trek Next Generation scenes.
Yeah?
The scene where 143-year-old Admiral Leonard McCoy
walks down the hallway.
Is walking down the hallway with Data.
Oh, with Data? Is it Data?
Brent Spiner's Data because he makes cracks about like, don't see no points on your ears, boy, but you sound like a Vulcan.
Yeah.
So DeForest Kelley is one of my all-time favorite actors on Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the favorite actor on Star Trek, and any scene he's in is always gold to me. So
it also has Michael Bell in it.
And Michael Bell, who used to do a lot of superhero voices. Yep. Like he did the Bruce Banner and a bunch of others back in the 80s and stuff.
Smurfs.
So. Smurfs, yep. You name it. He did a lot of voice work. He had a lot of voice work back in the 80s. So
a lot.
Yeah. So check that out if you would. And then also it has news about my other podcast I do for Southgate Media. Ghost with the Twin Peaks podcast that we do with Zan Sprouse, and Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, the award-winning Next Stop Everywhere.
I hear there might be some new art.
There might be. Shh, it's a secret.
Oh, okay.
Secret.
Is there new art though?
Maybe. So we'll see. But because a certain Karen Lindsay's going to be joining us as co-host.
Yay!
We have a new member aboard the TARDIS in September. Hopefully September.
I can't wait.
So, get ready, because Series 11 about to debut here shortly. And then Titan Talk, the Titans podcast they do with Jesse Jackson of the aforementioned Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, where we talk about the upcoming DC Universe series Titans.
And this may or may not have anything to do with what we just talked about, but next week is going to be our 150th episode.
Can you believe we've been doing this for 150 episodes?
I can and I can't.
You poor people.
No.
You put up with this stuff for that long.
No.
150.
I think they like us a little bit.
I hope you like us. I hope you really, really like us.
I think they do.
But thanks, everybody who's been following us for all those 150 episodes. If you haven't, well, you can go back and listen to old episodes. They're still available.
That's true.
Right? It's not like you couldn't catch up.
Right.
But if you have already done so, you are amazing.
Right.
And we will send you a bill for your therapy.
Yeah. There's that. And we're going to have a guest.
Yes.
Hopefully.
We're going to try and line up a special guest for next week.
Correct.
So we won't say who because we don't know if he's going to say yes yet or not.
Right. Or she.
Or she. Could be a she. Could be she.
Now you've given it away.
Yep.
But yeah.
I have given away nothing.
And like it. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 150 episodes.
Yeah. So
I've loved every second of it.
And I have too, because I got to spend my time with you, one of my favorite people, Karen Lindsay.
Me too, you.
So we've been doing this for going on 4 years now.
I know.
Close to.
So good.
So yeah, we're coming up on our season 4.
Yeah,
right?
that's not even counting the Dangerous Habit things.
Or is it season 5 we're coming up on?
Season 4.
Season 4. Oh, that's right. We haven't. Yeah, that was not even going back to Dangerous Habits. So yeah, and we found out that Patrick Lugo, who wrote in, apparently has been listening to us since Dangerous Habits.
Excellent.
So that was cool. That was very cool. So hey, Patrick.
I like that.
Long-time listener apparently. So respect to you.
Serious respect.
And so come on back. We're going to do a big 150th Fandom Zone. As we talk about 3 shows. We're going to talk about Preacher. We're going to talk about Luke Cage and Wynonna Earp.
Right here we are.
So come on back, y'all. It'll be a good one.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. I can breathe again. I can breathe again. I can breathe again.
Jeremy Spoker. It's a Darnell mustache, Dave.